What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is presented by All County Exteriors. Discover the excellence of All County Exteriors, a third-generation leader in premier exterior home remodeling, proudly celebrating over 40 years of success. While most remodeling companies last just 5 years, All County Exteriors has withstood the test of time, consistently delivering top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Their expertise extends from small repairs to large additions, serving homeowners and builders alike. More than just a construction company, All County Exteriors is deeply committed to community service, proudly supporting organizations such as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? How you doing this week? Welcome back for episode 86. Mike, before we get too excited into our episode, I feel like this is where we need to start, as news has been breaking, and we need to pass our condolences on and to the Murray family, as you guys probably heard or may have heard if you haven't heard already. Grayson Murray tragically passed away over the weekend. He played in the Charles Schwab Thursday, Friday, withdrew due to illness, and then Saturday morning was tragically passed away. So our hearts, our thoughts. I mean, it's a real sad story. It really is. He's battled his demons. He talked really openly about his alcoholism and depression, and I heard multiple times him talking about having his platform for that, being an advocate for it. And while we don't know a whole lot of details as you and I are recording right now, I'm sure more are going to come out. It's just a really sad story, and it's tragic in that it seemed like, I know he's not a household name per se, but he's won twice on tour, young guy. It seems like a lot of, got along with everybody on tour, and just really sad and tragic. So unfortunately, it's 2 straight weeks we're starting with something tragic in the golf world. But again, thoughts, prayers go out to the Murray family and what they're going through after this tragedy. Yeah,
I mean, he just won at Sony this past year, early in the season when this whole thing started. You remember if you listen to the Dan Hicks interview, he even talked about how great of a story that was, and to see a guy like Grayson overcome the things he has or had at the time, it was a positive and uplifting story. But now, I think that just goes to show, like, if you are struggling in any capacity, like it's on the people around you. It's on yourself, if you can, to just go seek help. Like, it's okay to say, hey, listen, I'm struggling. I need some help. I need to take a break. I need to do something. Because I think at the end of the day, I think we all value how much and how important our lives truly are.
Yeah. I forget the guy's name, but Amanda Balionis did an interview with him, and he was obviously distraught, the guy that played with him on Thursday and Friday, and said basically the same thing, was like, look, we're out here grinding, competing against each other, and we're worried about, a good break, a bad break, and ultimately you don't know what someone else is going through, and in their personal life. You talk to some people, but ultimately, even if you're close with someone, you don't know what someone might be battling or what their inner thoughts might be or anything like that. So it was really it was it was a good interview to watch, but it was a tough interview to watch because it really, it, sometimes we look at these guys as just being golfers and not as actual people. And he actually says that. He's like, we're out here, we're people, we all have stuff going on. We all got families, all got friends, all got, we all put our shoes on, all put our pants on one leg at a time. And it's just kind of, it was really, it was a tough interview to see, but it brought some good, shed some good light onto it. So, yeah. We are going to go on with our episode, and we're going to, try to act as normal as we can, but I wouldn't, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about that to start with what's going on. So did want to give a kind of a note there. From one negative, Mike, to something that's become a positive out of a tragedy. I've mentioned before on this show that I do some work with the Tunnels to Tower organization, and the Tunnels to Tower. And for those that don't know, Stephen Stiller was a FDNY during 9/11. He had his day off that day, and when the planes crashed, he ran from what used to be the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. I think it's changed names. I don't know what it is now, but to the towers, and then as they were getting ready to collapse, so they started a foundation for him, and the Tunnels to Tower helps catastrophically wounded service people now. It's not just FDNY. It could be Army, Navy, Marines, police, fire, anybody in the service industry that's been wounded. And then they have multiple other branches, as it's now been 20 plus years since they've been rocking and rolling with this. So everyone, it's a big thing in New York City. They do an annual run, the run that Stephen did from the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to World Trade Center. But the part of it that I help out with, or that I'm on, is the golf arm, the golf committee for the Tunnels to Tower. And we do our annual golf outing at Eagle Oaks in Farmingdale. It's coming up on June 24th, and it's almost full, depending on when you're listening to this. It might be full already. A couple of the spots are blocked already, where we're all full. And we have 2 flights at Eagle Oaks, 2 flights at Deal Golf and Country Club, a morning and an afternoon. Both mornings have a few availabilities. The afternoon at Deal has a few availabilities, and the PM or the afternoon at Eagle Oaks is all full. So if you're looking to play, certainly, reach out, try to see if there's some availability. But if you're interested in getting involved in any other way, there's all kinds of sponsorship opportunities. There's all kinds of ways to donate. Maybe you don't want to golf and you just want to go to the dinner held at Eagle Oaks afterwards, which is a phenomenal experience. Mr. Stiller, Stephen's father, is there. He speaks. There's a whole big, there's a whole, it's basically like putting on a wedding. So there's a whole lot of things going on. So if you're interested in any way, shape, or form, DM us, or you can head over to tunnelstotower.org and check out, what's going on. There's also all these other side, where people will do a golf outing and they'll donate the money to the Tunnels to Tower, so that those are on there as well. But this specifically is the big one run by, again, the Tunnels to Tower. So that's coming up June 24th for those that are interested. So Mike, thanks for letting me share that. I figured, with Memorial Day weekend, it was fair to shout them out.
Totally agree. Are you looking for the perfect place to tee it up this season? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Or how about the most picturesque backdrop for the wedding of your dreams? Then you need to go visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey, conveniently located in Union County, right off exit 138 on the Garden State Parkway. Galloping Hill encompasses over more than 270 beautiful acres. It was again ranked in the top 10 of best public golf courses in New Jersey. Galloping Hill also offers a top 50 in the country learning center with 52 stalls and a 45,000 square foot practice area. In addition to a 9-hole course that is ranked in the top 10 of short courses in the entire country, Galloping Hill is more than just golf. The Hill Tavern Bar and Grill is a gastropub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly with amazing views of the course. Hosting over 100 golf outings and over 400 social events per year, their catering team consistently wins awards each year from the Knot and the Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill Golf Course.
I know we have some big news, Mike. I know you're excited. I can tell that you've been holding it in this entire time, and you are about to explode. So why don't you share the news with everybody?
Well, listen, I know we talked about this last episode. I know we talked about it, probably back in April, maybe, or even early April, about the second edition of the Drop Podcast Polos being released, and they're here. When Chris sent me a text a few days ago with boxes being shipped to his house, I knew what he was referencing when he sent me that. And then what I loved even more is when he sent you and I a text in our group chat.
Yep.
That the sizing looks to be perfect. His words, not mine. I was hesitant to say that because it's tough sometimes, finding the right size for your bigger brethren. It is. There's no two ways around it.
Yeah.
But according to Chris, I think we've kind of figured it out, and I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to get these things out. If they're not out already, I know this is, we're recording a little earlier than Tuesday, so hopefully at this point they're being blasted on social media. If not, I'm sure they'll be here by the end of the week, and you can bet your bottom dollar the minute they are, and I've been given a thumbs up, that these things will be all over our handle, all over our socials, and we'll be promoting the hell out of them while wearing them. So listen, I realize how much work goes into this. I'm way more appreciative of that aspect of it because I never really knew it took that much time or this much effort. But it's a process, and it got done, and I can't wait to be wearing them. And I'm sure if people see us out and about playing golf, whether it's on social media or actually in person, more often than not, those shirts will probably be on us. So you'll have to pick one up. It's a great shirt. It's great material. As you said earlier, like, I am not settling, and that's kind of how this operates.
Yeah, not settling is exactly what you're doing or not doing, and that's I know how excited you are from our side text, from our group text with Chris. I'm excited too. I really, I actually, again, I'm a big guy, and even if I wasn't, I could have 5% body fat. I'm still going to be a big guy. I'm a large individual. So I feel bad that it does take this much work for you and even more importantly for Chris to find something that fits me and my bigger brethren, as you said. But I hope that I'm really excited to see, because I do want to rock it. I do feel I feel bad when I can't wear it or when I'm uncomfortable wearing it because it's a little too tight for my comfortability. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can rock it, and I'm excited for it. I really am. But for sure, big fellas, I'll be giving it a review when you'll be hearing about it when I get mine and put it on. All right, Mike, well, let's do this, actually. I was going to go here. Let's go somewhere else. Let's talk our guys, Max, Chris, Ryan, Morgan, and others. We have another one here this week. The Charles Schwab was going on this week. We had a couple guys that were in it, but unfortunately not able to make the cut. They're all three are in the RBC this week. The RBC Canadian Open starts Thursday. Again, Ryan, Chris, and Max are all in for this week. So best of luck to those guys in up in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't play particularly well. Ryan was an alternate to get into the tournament, so he didn't even play this week. Max and Chris did play. Both got off to rocky starts on Thursday and just didn't have enough in the tank to make the cut. So we're back at it this week up at RBC at the Canadian Open, which always seems to get a big field. I saw Rory's heading up there. So, the cream of the crop likes these open championships where it's like that, country's open and it means something to a lot of these guys. Tiger used to go up there. Rory's heading up there. So, it's a loaded field, but it's nice to see our three guys in the field. And hopefully we can, like you and I say, cash some checks and climb that FedEx Cup ranking.
Yeah, I think that most professional golfers like opens. They like the U.S. Open, they like the British Open or the Open Championship. They like the Canadian Open. I think they like those because it gives it's again open to everybody. Anybody can win it, and they're going to show their prowess over quote unquote people that qualified, regular people. So. So I think that's why a lot of them like going up there. So best of luck to those guys this week. Morgan Hoffman's heading to the UNC Health Championship on the Corn Ferry Tour. Best of luck to him. And I did also want to shout out a guy who we had on the show before. He's trying to qualify for things, trying to get on the Corn Ferry Tour, trying to get his game dialed in enough. Dawson Jones, but we had on a couple months ago at this point now. Is it late last year, Mike? Or
I want to say
January?
It was like early December. I want to say it was early December when he was like gearing up for his season, getting things going. And to your point, he said he was going to try to Monday qualify for a lot of Corn Ferry things and see if he can, even Monday qualify for some of the PGA Tour events that had like 2 tournaments going on at one time to see if he can
alternate field events.
Yeah, the alternate field events. Yeah. So, listen, he got in. He didn't play. The thing with that is he had I don't know if you know, but he had a 5:30 tee time after the delay on Thursday. So he only got about 5 or 6 holes in on Thursday, which then meant he got up at the ass crack of dawn at 7 a.m. To go play his Thursday round and then proceed into Friday. And I think if you looked, once he got into his Friday round, he got into a lot better of a groove. But that late finish on Thursday, compounded by that early start on Thursday, kind of did him in a little bit, and he just wasn't able to recover.
Yeah, it's tough physically, mentally to get in the groove there, especially after Monday qualifying. So you played Monday, you probably practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday you're just sitting around waiting for the tournament to start. You think you're teeing off at some time, and then it gets delayed, and then you got to get all ready and geared up to play 5 or 6 holes, and then again, wind down, get up at 4:00 in the morning to do it all again because he teed off at, like you said, he was one of the first times at like 7 or something like that. So, yeah, tough to do, really, really tough to do. So, hopefully more good things happen for Dawson, and hopefully we can put him in our rotation of guys that we're talking about because he's such a good kid. Hopefully,
listen,
the best. Yeah.
Listen, you want to add to golfing in the Garden State on the big time tours? We'll take another dude, and who better than Dawson Jones, who can flat out, like we always say, golf is golf ball, boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Sprout Tee golf tees are biodegradable and look and feel like a wood golf tee, but are designed to swiftly decompose under UV light, minimizing equipment damage and cleanup efforts. With their unique patent-pending manufacturing process, they offer the opportunity to fill Sprout tees with a customized blend of grass seed or mild fertilizer at no additional charge. Tailored to your golf course's exact specifications, their aim is to repurpose plant-based waste and byproducts, diminish plastic tee usage, and curb deforestation for wood tees. Enjoy affordability and eco-friendliness, complete with a complimentary personalized mesh bag with every order. Embrace sustainability on the green. Order now at SproutTeeGolf.com.
All right, let's get into the bigger bigger issues of today, Mike. We had ourselves a day. Mike and I, well, let's backtrack this a little bit. We had done the review of Hollywood. Brian Doherty came on and previewed the 4-ball for us, and Mike was playing in that, as you recall, and it was a great day. It was a great interview, great success. The NJSGA picked it up, put it in their review letter, pushed it out on their socials. It really was a successful episode and interview for us, and making that connection with the State Golf Association was really something that kind of got some things moving. And now the idea is that we're going to try doing a preview of each of the major courses for their previews. So the next one's the Mid-Am, New Jersey Mid-Am, and it's heading down to Union League down in Cape May County. It's exit 13 on the Parkway. So Mike and I were fortunate enough to head down to Union League National and play with their general manager, Jacob Hoffer, and experience the course, the nines that they're playing. If you don't know, it's the old Sand Barons. It's 27 holes. They're all like Civil War generals. It's Grant, Sherman, and Meade are the 3 nines. They're playing Sherman to Grant, is the 18 that they'll be playing. So we went down there. Mike and I played the Sherman and Grant nines, and got to experience the course and see all of it while talking with the GM, talking with Jake about the course, how they'd set it up, how to play it, what the thought process was on developing it, because he's been on the ground floor since. He talked about standing on the course with Dana Fry, who's the architect and the guy who moved, what did he say, 1.3 million cubic tons of dirt or something like that. He says it in the interview, but moved a lot of dirt. They actually built the highest point in Cape May County on the course. So it's, but he talks about being part of the development process, being part of the building of it, essentially. And, that's a guy you want on to talk about a course that's gone through such a huge renovation and all that. So we were fortunate enough, again, head down, we got to play, and then we interviewed Jacob after in their like dining room, or their kind of like a little reception area, and it was awesome. It was such a great day. I told both of the guys this. I remember like fanboying over the pictures of like on Instagram of what Sand Barons used to look like, and then aerial shots from like the drone of what Union League was going through. And that was 6-7 years ago now. And to be able to play it with a guy who helped build it was an experience that I don't know if I'll ever forget. It was truly I keep saying it, a special experience. And it was awesome. So that interview is going to come out Thursday this week. Today's Tuesday the 27th, 8th, and really it was just like that'll come out the 30th. Just an awesome experience. It really was. I can't figure out enough good things to say, Mike. But let's get into the course a little bit. Let's talk about you and I on the course.
Yeah, before you do that, I do want to thank the NJSGA for partnering with us on that, because I think that's one of the things that people may not understand really the reasons why we're doing this. Because, I know some people say like, oh, it must be nice. You guys are just going to go play these nice golf courses and you get the perks of that. But that is not the concept here. The idea behind Ryan and I visiting, these major championships of the NJSGA is to promote the event. And what better way to do it is than to play it. You get two different perspectives along with someone that works there, that basically lives there at the golf course. And then we're able to help the participants in the actual championship get a different side of the golf course, that if they weren't able to play the practice round, or even if they were, then be able to listen to somebody that basically works, operates, knows the ins and outs of that spot. And that is why we're doing this. So like, I can't thank the NJSA enough for partnering with us with this. And that's really the reason as to why we've done this, because again, we've said it from day one that when you're talking golfing in the Garden State, our goal is to promote all that type of stuff. And what better way to do it than continuing the theme of what we've started?
Yeah, I say it, Mike. You like the word promote. I like to shed light. Like that's we're just trying to shed light on anything positive golf in the Garden State, and we have a state golf association that runs these, and that's what we're trying to do is just shed light, promote, honor all things New Jersey golf. So let's talk about the course a little bit. Let's talk about our experience, Mike. What were your thoughts on it?
Listen, I think just like a lot of people, when you're there, you're just going to be in awe of the golf course itself. If anybody ever played Sand Barons and then got to remember that from any recollection they may have to see what it is today, it's legitimately night and day. You would not recognize probably anything. And I just think the golf course is just so damn good. And I know I joked around many times with Jacob and probably even just saying it to you, but like, every hole to me is a picturesque hole, and I'm on my phone as it is a lot, just taking a picture or video
Right.
here and there. But when I'm there, it's out every hole. It's on every tee box. It's on every green. It's like I'm doing a full, circle and taking videos. Like, it is so damn good. And it's not just aesthetically pleasing to the eye. The golf is good too. The golf is very good. And I think the work that those people have done over there to move mountains, more or less, will speak for itself. Yeah, will speak for itself when these guys get on that first tee box on the Sherman side and see what that place is about.
Yeah, I loved it, Mike. It might be. I keep wanting to get recency bias out of this, right? And I know we got to play it last November, and I know it was cold and like the conditions weren't like summer or late spring like they are now, so it wasn't like popping like we, like they said it can. And again, try not to put recency bias in. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The aesthetics of like the waste bunkers and the bunkering and the water, and just it was as good of a golf course as I've ever seen. And I'm going to try to let it sit for a little bit before I say something that I can't take back. But man, did I love it there. I really did. It was phenomenal. The intricacies of the green complexes, they're going to hear the phrase "the green inside the green" quite a few times. Was again a engineering or designing miracle. The things that they have there. I mean, there's some elephants living in these greens. If you thought there were elephants living in the greens at Hollywood and you got to play in the 4-ball, you're in for a bigger circus this time, because you got to know where to put your ball. You got to put it in the right spot. You got to be on the right tier. You got to be able to control the spin. I mean, there's a lot of things that you good golfers are able to do and need to execute, as opposed to me just, kind of slapping it around and not being able to do as good a job. But it's as good a golf course as we have in the state. There's no doubt in my mind. It is a special place.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, and that's one of the conversations I think that Jacob and I were having about the greens necessarily, because listen, it could become a circus if he put these pins in some kind of unplayable positions. And that's the fine line of a job like the superintendent or the NJSGA or even Brad Barden, the tournament director, like how you're going to put these pins or where you're going to put these pins. Because listen, those greens are not easy. They are not. And if the greens are firm and the ball's bouncing and it's ricocheting, because for the most part, the weather's going to be very solid. I've looked ahead and there's not much, maybe a day of rain, but other than that, I'm going to assume the greens are going to be hard. And if you're starting to move these pins around, it could become a little bit, crazy. So I think that's one of the most important things is let's not trick this place out to make people unenjoy this whole beauty of a golf course that really is Union League National. But to your point, like that is the test. And I think my recommendation as someone that can play a little bit, not to the level that these guys can, but you might want to be getting a yardage book. You might want to be looking at these greens, looking at the complexes of them, understanding these different areas in there, because if you don't start working your way from the green back to the tee, listen, you're talking double bogeys are going to sniff in there, and it's not going to be so much off the tee. It's going to be when you get to the green.
Yeah, absolutely. Mikey, I think you said that perfectly. From tee to fairway, you can relatively, I don't want to say spray it, because you can't necessarily spray it, but like it really doesn't. You're going to find fairways. It's not going to be that hard, and even getting off the fairway a little bit, the rough's a little thick, and you want to be obviously down grain as opposed to against the grain. But even that, you'd be fine. It's playing it back to front. It's knowing, okay, I want to be on the left side of this fairway. Not that I can't hit the fairway. I need to be on the left side of the fairway, because the angle that I need to take to this next shot is with a pin in the back right. I want to have as much green to work with so that I can fly it in there and control the spin as much as I can. Like it's not just it's not just par fives. You're not going to be driver 3-wood and just get it around the green and then we'll get up and down, make a putt. Maybe we'll get on the green. Like it's going to be a strategically planned playing of the course as you go, again, like you said, from back to front there.
Yeah, and let's go through the thing. Let's go through it. Let's go through the front nine, because I know it was, when you guys listen to Thursday and you hear Jacob talk and you hear us, preview the golf course, the Sherman 9 is the easier of the 2 nines. Okay. Yep. There's no two ways around it. And what your definition of easy is, I don't know, but like, it's not as hard as the Grant. Okay. There's way more birdieable holes on the Sherman side than there is the Grant.
Yeah.
You agree?
100%. And I felt like I was grinding on Grant, and I didn't feel like I was grinding on the Sherman side. Like the Grant is that back 9 is going to be a mentally and physically demanding 9. And that's not to say that Sherman isn't, because you're going to want to grind over birdies, but you're going to be grinding over pars on Grant as opposed to grinding over birdies on the Sherman side, because there are birdies to be had on the front 9. But then once you make the turn and once you get past 7, I guess, but you make the turn onto the Grant 9, you're going to have to hold on for dear life.
Yeah. I mean, and when you think about the front 9 itself, like there's not any really like, I gotcha holes. There's no. And I will say this, it makes for a really interesting 7, 8, 9 to end your front 9 on the Sherman side, because when you go par 3, par 4, par 5, all of them are unique in their own way, with, 7 being a great little par 3, leading right into number 8, which is, for some of these guys, pending where you put the tee, it's drivable. They can get it up there, but good luck if you don't know what that green looks like, because that's a spot. If you hit a very good drive up the left center of the fairway, you might want to take that 30 or 40-yard walk up to the green to see how much slope and how much of a backstop you really have pending where that pin is. Then leads you into 9, a par 5 that, like, listen, it's not that it's a hard 9, but the bunkers in the center of the fairway, as you get closer to the green,
placement
is strategically placed 100%.
If you're looking to roll one up there, like, hey, let me get a 3-wood, just get it on the ground and let the ground game kind of take it. You're going to be in a bunker that you may not have seen or known was there, and
yeah, and it's that
otherwise you're
distance.
trying to fly. Yeah, otherwise you're trying to fly 40, a 3-wood with some spin, and it's going to be tough. So I also like that they can actually flip. We were kind of joking on the tee box there for 7. If they play from the back tees, it's going to be a driver onto a par 3, because it could play as much as, what they say, 252 or something like that, all the way back, 242. Which could be a little more, a little more than the 3-wood. So you might be trying to hit mini driver or take a little off a driver with a little
maybe
cut.
for us. These guys, I don't know if are going to necessarily.
Well, I'm just saying, like in theory, you could be using driver, and then you may want to hit 3-wood on 8 to lay back, so you don't have to deal with the bunkers on the that are just short of the green there. So, in theory, you could be doing that. But yeah, those are great 3 holes there. I love the symmetry 3, 4, 5. It just kind of ending that is always a fun way to end. And then, like you said, I don't know if seven you take your par and run. Depending on where the pin is, 8, you could be birdieing, but you could be playing for a par. 9, you have a birdie chance for sure. And then, like I said, you make the turn and hold on for dear life. Whatever you are, there's not many birdie holes out there. Depending on the pin, I guess one could be.
I would say it starts you off on an easier fashion. I can't
does.
lie. Like
Yep.
From a competitive golfer standpoint, when you look at the 10th hole or the first hole on the Grant side, it for a lot of these guys, it's going to be driver 9-iron, driver wedge. Like there's not a couple bunkers on the right and left side, but nothing that's going to say like I got you. Right. So I would say if you're going to start the back 9, you got a good starting.
Yep, especially if the pin's in the back, you got a lot of green to work with in front. The bunkers really don't come into play, so you're not thinking about them. So yeah, you got a chance there. And then 2, knowing where you got to be. That's one where you're like, looking to get on and get close, and 1 putt for your birdie, 2 putt for par, and then then run away.
I mean, two. You better be cautious because that fairway bunker sits out there probably 80 yards, 70 yards. I don't got the yardage book in front of me, but you got one dead center of the fairway that you don't know, and if you don't know ahead of time, you're just going to whack something up there and be like, oh my God, I wish I knew that.
Yep.
So again, another reason why it's important to listen to this podcast.
It is. And honestly, knowing the angle, they talk about like when you were looking at your shot, you were like, okay, well the green's there, so I want to be, and Jake's like, no, you need to be 100 yards left of that because you want to be on the angle that you need to be. That might be the distance, but you need the angle to get you onto the green better, as opposed to, again, not knowing that center bunker or the way the angle of the green is. You want as much green to work with. So knowing some of those intricacies is huge. And moving on to hole 3, the same thing, like knowing where the tee box is set up and what tees you're playing from. You may have a carry over a waist bunker and a greenside bunker and have maybe 5 yards of green to work with. Or they may move it to the right and you may have kind of the whole green to work with. So there's a lot of different ways they could play that one as well. But what we're trying to say here is the angles matter on any of the 9s, Sherman or Grant, but 2 angles matter. 3, beautiful par 3.
You're going to love 3. You're going to love 3. And and to your point about angles, let's get into number 4, because I think, and again, we probably are going to tease this way too much in terms of like understanding the whole thing. But I will say this: when you're on the 4th tee box, left center is your target. If you're right center, good luck.
Yep.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you hit it right center, you'll be like, that's what Mike was referring to.
I mean, Mike, you were right center. Are you? Yeah. If you were to replay the hole, are you going to lay up on a par 4?
No, but I would go way, you when you think left, I don't want to be left. Like there, you want to be left. And now, granted, we played the back tee box on a hole, so these guys may be able to get, these guys may be able to poke their driver around the bend because it is a dogleg right par 4. It's a hefty one, dead into the wind. Okay, maybe they can hit 3 when the tees are up and it's downwind, and they're looking at this screen like, okay, Mike, what are you talking about? So,
but if it's back and you're into the wind and you're blocked out by there's an enormous mound, then we'd be speaking the same language. But there is this enormous mound on the right hand side, and if you're too far to the right, you're blocked out from the green and you can't see the pin or the green. And again, depending on how far right, you might not even be able to see short of the green. So now you're picking an angle over, hey, I think it's that bush there. Let me just go at that and put a little fade on it or whatever. So now you're having a tougher time to play golf there. I think the next hole, if we'd say 1 would be a birdie hole, I think the next one would be 5. Would be a birdie hole. Long par 5. It's got a speed slot in it down the right hand side. The green slopes to the water though, so it's the last 100 yards is downhill with sloping away from you, so you got to be able to control it. But it is a rather straightforward, not a lot of stuff in the middle of the fairway hole that you can put a good drive down. And again, I think people will have. I think there'll be some eagle chances, especially if the wind's playing nice for them. But yeah, again, very straightforward. Not a lot of action in the middle of the fairway. You can see all the bunkers. You can see the waste areas. It's rather right in front of you.
Yeah, and I think that, listen, that Grant side, I think I said it many times. If you don't have your belt buckled tight, you got your big boy pants on, and you got those shoes tied super tight, like I'm telling you, I know this may come off as crazy, but I think if you shoot 1 or 2 over on that 9, like that's pretty damn good, because unless I'm completely wrong by this, and I've looked up and down the field, I know there's studs in the field. I know that these guys can play, and some of the pairings the groups are phenomenal. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe guys go subpar on that 9, but I just think if you shoot 37, 38 on that 9, like, okay, you didn't do bad. You didn't do bad, and frankly, I don't think you lost any ground on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, even coming out of it par 36, you gain shots on the field for sure. There's no doubt about that. And then Jake talks about it as well. Hole 6 on Grant and hole 7 on Sherman are kind of the same hole. If you lay them on top of each other, par 3s with water around, small area. I think if you're running out of there with a par, a green that kind of goes away from you, and the angle is not, it's a cut or fade green shape, and depending on where they put the flag, I mean, it could be run away with a 2-putt. Get it, keep it short, chip it up, 1-putt, and run out of there for sure. And then the closing stretch here is, if you've gotten to maybe you're in stroke play still, even in match play, if you know that you need to get to a number, or you're 1 down going into 7, 8, and 9, you're at a disadvantage, because these holes are going to be really tough finishing holes with again, we talked about the green complex. 7 is hit a straight drive out there, hit the fairway. Now you're going to have
3 straight par 4s of 450 plus if you play the back tees, depending on where the tees are. And when you're talking 450 plus, that means 1 or 2 could be, in theory, into the wind.
Yep.
And that's going to test a lot of guys there. You're
going to be hitting long irons into greens that we said you need to be able to control the spin of the golf ball and know where you're trying to hit it. So trying to do that with a 4 or 5 iron is going to be really tough to do. So, so these guys are going to be tested for sure on 7. 8, you got to clear the water, and try to get over a lot of water, which again, I don't think anybody there will have a tough time, but it's a massive water, massive pond that you're trying to clear. And then 9, again, another really long par 4 that really, you could almost back it up just a little bit more and have it play as a par 5, and it would be still a really good par 5. So the finishing holes there are going to be super, super tough, again, with really tough green complexes. I would say you don't want to be down, or you don't want to need to make a number on those last 3 holes. Again, you want to hold on to your hat, grind out your pars, and take those coming in, because they are going to be difficult holes there coming in there.
What's your score, medalist? Tuesday's round. If I got my dates correct, I believe it starts on Tuesday, June 4th. Yep, I am right. Typical. So that's the medalist round. And, again, if people don't know what happens, they take the top 16 after Tuesday, okay? And then it goes into match play, on Wednesday and Thursday, and they just play the whole thing out. You could potentially play 36 on Wednesday and 36 on Thursday. till we get a champion. But do you have a prediction on what you think the medalist will be on Tuesday?
I do. I know you guys were talking about it. I do think somebody is going to catch fire and birdie. I can see them going like 32, 36, something like that, 32, 35 maybe, and going like, what is that, 67? I think that's lower than you guys think,
Yeah.
like you and Jacob were talking. But I do think that's as low as you can go, though. I don't think there's a 66 out there, but 67, 68, I think would be the medalist for that Tuesday round. You think
I
you're?
think I'm rock solid at 68. I am. I think there.
Okay.
I think there's a 68 in the books. But I mean, I just think the field is too good. I think Jacob and the crew there at Union League, along with Brad Barton and NGSA, aren't going to play the I gotcha game, and I think it's going to be a fair test with good pins, greens rolling well. And I think with knowing who's in the field and looking at these pairings, I think someone goes 68.
Yeah. And to the flip side, there's probably a few scores in the 60s, and I'd say that there's a bunch of scores in the 80s. There's going to be guys that have some struggling days out there.
Don't be that guy.
No, you don't want to be that guy. Even I didn't shoot in the 80s, guys. Come on.
Fair point. It's a valid point. I confirmed that's a fact. Present.
Do you have a stretch of holes, Mike, that you think, we asked Brian with like what his amen corner would be. Do you have a 3-hole stretch or a 4-hole stretch where you're like, this is going to make or break the rounds for people? Like what's your again, your amen corner here?
I think it's 7, 8, 9 when you finish a round on the Grant side. I do it. And I think that's
so there's 16, 17, 18. Okay.
Yeah, because I think like a lot of things you could be feeling good about your game and you're coming in there maybe 2, 3 under par, or maybe you're right at even, or maybe you're right at the cut line of making the top 16. And now you got 3 holes left and you're kind of like, you're still kind of in cruise mode and you're not really like, all right, like I need to buckle down now, because those last 3 holes, I truly think could make or break your round in terms of like,
for sure,
do you get in the top 16? If I'm in match play, can I still hold on? Because those, listen, maybe not for these guys, but when I look at 450 plus on par 4s, knowing how these greens are and how hard this golf course can play, like that is not an easy stretch. That is not an easy stretch. So to me, it's like those last 3 could make or break a lot of things.
And honestly, the pressure of those being the like, hey, I need to make some magic happen. There's some pressure there. Some people will think like, hey, nothing to lose now. Like I'm down 1 with 3 to play. I got to make something happen. I guess there's no pressure there, but there is pressure to execute a shot. And same thing on the flip side. Like, hey, I'm up 1, or I'm in the cut line, or I'm, whatever the case is, I need to execute to make par, and run out of here. Make my opponent do something that he's not used to doing. There's pressure there too. So I totally agree. I think that those are a tough 3. The ones I look at being my kind of amen corner would be 3, 4, 5 on the Grant side, starting with that par 3. I think that's a tough hole. I think 4 is a tough hole. And then what do you do on 5? Again, I think we're going to see more birdies on that par 5 than any other hole on the Grant side, quite frankly. So, if you're not picking up a shot on the field, then you're going to be losing a shot on the field. So I think that's one of you got 2 really tough holes in front of you. I also, again, they could make or break. I mean, you look at match play; those could be the finishing holes for some people. Because that would be 10, 11. Those are 12, 13, 14. If you're down already and trying to press a little bit, that's a 4 and 3 kind of situation. So I think those are going to be a big swing as well. So. And then even if you wanted, how I love doing this, even if you wanted to throw the par 3 6 hole into there. That's going to be part of that as well. So
Who wins?
you're better at that than I am. I know you looked at the field. I just glanced at it. I do think I know that it's a far travel for a lot of people, and I think that is going to matter for a bunch of people. So just based on that, like the getting up early, traveling an hour and a half plus, like a guy like, and I didn't even see if he's in the field. Is Pat playing? Is Pat Wilson in the field?
Yeah, did you see that group? It's Pat Wilson, it's Michael Brown, and my buddy Austin Devereaux going off at 8:50.
So like Austin has the shortest drive, and he's still an hour plus away. So Pat's got nearly a 2-hour
I think Michael
drive,
Brown has the shortest ride. He's coming over there from Pennsylvania. It's a little.
Okay, he might. I was going where the handicaps are, so coming up from like Rock Spring. So
no.
I think again, Pat's got a 2-hour ride. If he's got a 9:00 tee time or something like that, and if he makes match play, I don't know. I think that'll play a factor. The travel distance. Honestly, I would advocate for staying down here. I don't know if anybody has thought of that yet or has done it yet, but like down the shore weekday. Atlantic City's not far away. You got to behave yourself a little bit for a few days, but certainly could be a nice little getaway, a little Airbnb situation. But anyway, back to your point, I like Troy Vanucci's chances. I like Troy's.
Listen, Troy lost in the finals last year to Michael Brown, so I
Right.
mean he's right there. He's close. He's very close.
That's the long and short of me giving Troy doesn't live too far away from it. He's got just kind of a straight shot across the state. He's playing well, played well there last year. I think his game will translate, and that would be my winner pick.
There you go.
Mike, you got anything else for anything to wrap up? Oh, who's your winner?
Listen, that's a loaded field. That I really don't have my guess will be. My guess to win the whole thing will be, I'm going to go Jamie Slonis.
Okay. I would say unknown, but someone we hasn't had.
Jamie Slonis, take it to the bank, baby.
Okay. Well, good luck to everyone who's going to play. You're in for a real treat either way. The course is, again, it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's in perfect condition. And only going to get better for next week, or 2 weeks from now. When is it next week?
Next Tuesday. Next
Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, best of luck to everyone going down there, and to guys at the NJSGA. Thank you again for helping us out with this. Jacob, thank you for having us down. It was an absolute blast. All the guys at Union League, thank you. It really was incredible. But that's going to be it for Mike and I today. Stay tuned Thursday, again, as we have Jacob Hoffer, who's the GM of Union League National. There from the very beginning and again, has a lot of great things to say about it. So make sure you check back Thursday and stick around for that. Till next time, cheers.